had it not been for the mindset work that I did, I would never have gone on to build the multiple six-figure freelance paralegal business that I went on to build. It is 80% mindset and only 20% action that makes a paralegal successful or not successful within the space. Hi, and welcome back to the Paralegal Freelance Lounge. Jaclyn Foster here. Today, we're going to switch it up a little bit in what we're going to be talking about, because if I don't talk about mindset in the freelance paralegal space, I would be doing you a complete disservice. It is 80% mindset and only 20% action that makes a paralegal successful or not successful within the space. And before you blow off meditation and mindset practices, as I'm going to discuss today, I really want you to take this wholeheartedly, that had it not been for the mindset work that I did, I would never have gone on to build the multiple six-figure freelance paralegal business that I went on to build. First and foremost, I want to talk about why meditation, mindset work, mindfulness, those types of things can easily be blown off when we're talking about business, when we're entering that business space of our lives. And typically it's because we see people out there, whether on TikTok, YouTube, or just scrolling through Facebook, that are saying, oh, you can manifest $1 million into your life in the next 6 months, and just think about it. Think about $20,000 and it'll appear in your mailbox. Or think about finding your soulmate and tomorrow you'll bump into each other at a coffee shop and it'll be love at first sight. So we hear these things nonstop in the, I don't even know what to call it, space of online. Basically the manic manifesting. They're making money off of telling you that you can be a couch potato, sit and watch TV and think about great things coming into your life, and boom, it will happen. So I'm here to show you exactly how you need to implement mindfulness and pairing that with your action strategy within your freelance paralegal business to make it successful. I'm not here to tell you that if you sleep on it, if all you do is think about being successful and you do nothing more, that it'll happen for you. But I'm going to probably change the way that you've ever looked at meditation, visualization, and mindful mindset work. But first, I want to share with you really quickly my personal story of how I incorporated mindset and meditation into the early stages of my business, what happened as a result, and further, how I continue to utilize it in my business every single week, ideally every single day. I try to at least incorporate it every single week into what I do. The year was 2020. I was completely defeated. We were struggling financially so very badly, as we were basically a single income household. I had a brand new baby at home in early 2018, and it did not make financial sense to go to the nearest law firm, make $15 an hour, incorporate daycare costs, incorporate drive time, wear and tear, what have you, on that whole process of keeping that job for $15 an hour, that it was an absolute no-brainer that the reality was I should probably just stay home as a stay-at-home mom with my newborn baby. However, we quickly realized that it was very unsustainable, and I had to find something to bring a little bit of supplemental income to our house. So what I did was I researched very quickly. I mean, my baby was maybe 1 week old at the time, different freelancing positions out there, or anything work from home that I could do. I happened to fall in the lap of, or they fell in my lap, however you want to look at it, of an amazing outsourcing company that ended up giving me my first gig into the freelance paralegal space. And I suddenly was getting 5 hours a week of very simply scheduling independent medical examinations for a workman comp defense firm out of Chicago. Now, little old me living in little old Wisconsin, I had no idea that this would ever be possible, to be able to take my paralegal career into different states as I entered this freelance space. But between the years 2018 and 2020, things did not get better, financially speaking. Yes, I was able to bring in some income, but we were still struggling to keep up. But I was really scared to jump out on my own. This company that I had been working with had given me several other freelancing gigs, 5 hours here, 5 hours there. However, there was always this burning desire in me for something more, something where my family and I could wake up on a Saturday and not look to see if our account was overdrawn before we went out to get breakfast as a family at the local diner. I wanted more where I could put money aside to take our kids on family trips once a year or take them to the zoo on a whim when they're on summer break. And so I kept thinking in my head, if I'm watching what my company I'm working for is charging their clients, if I could just start my own business and push myself into getting my own clients, somehow figuring this out and acquiring my own clients, I could absolutely change our lives. Now, spoiler alert, I had no idea that I would change our lives to the extent that I changed it, being that we're living in our dream home that we built from the ground up, continuing to grow this business. I could never have imagined that I would have scaled my company into multiple six figures within 3 years and just absolutely change our lives. And I was always stuck. There was always something. I would start my planning of my business. I would start figuring out what services I would offer. And I'll save those details because I know they're in other videos and other podcast episodes I've done, but I would nitpick different little things and services and what would I call myself and how would I operate and what's the onboarding looking like for me and my client? What do I need to get started? And I would write all these things down in a notebook, and then that notebook would eventually just end up under my bed, and I would continue to do this cycle over and over every month or every couple of months, where I finally was at a point in 2020 where I said, I can't keep putting myself through this turmoil. I feel like I have a half belief that I could do something. So it's always lingering there in my mind that I could change the trajectory of my financial and personal reality. It's always there sort of pestering me, waking me up at night, making me Google things, making me take out the calculator and envision what I could possibly create. And then there's this constant battle in my head of, Jaclyn, who are you to build something like this? How could you ever make this successful? You have crappy Wi-Fi, you live in the middle of nowhere. There were so many more paralegals out there that had amazing experience, way beyond the experience that I had. And I'm like, how could I even compete with other paralegals out there? It would shut me down. But then something happened in early March of 2020 where I sat down and I was having a really rough week with the baby. He was colicky, crying, not sleeping. I was struggling personally, emotionally, physically, all the above, where I just said, I've had enough. And I took my phone out. I plugged in my headphones during my son's morning nap, and I sat on the couch and I played a 10-minute visualization meditation. I had heard about meditating. I had thought about trying it, and I never really believed in it, but I was like, let's just do it. And this meditation, which I will link up in the comments because I still use this meditation at least once a month. It is so powerful, or was so powerful for me. I sat down and I did that meditation where it walked me through visualizing my life, visualizing my future. What would I be wearing? What would I be doing? What does the physical world around me look like? What does my emotional self feel? Who am I? And putting myself in the body of that future person and what that person is doing. And I'll save you the details of what I visualized because that's kind of irrelevant to the topic, but I can tell you what I visualized in that meditation happened. It came true within 3 years. And it is the absolute reason that I'm sitting here today being able to coach paralegals across the United States how to also build multiple six-figure freelance businesses. And the reason I'm here today as a CEO and founder of an amazing online directory that allows freelance paralegals to advertise their services to attorneys and actually be making it a success. So let's talk about visualization and what happens in that process of you sitting down to meditate and visualize what it is that you desire to accomplish and see your career, where your career will go. When you sit down intentionally to either meditate or visualize through writing things out, or what have you, however you prefer to do mindfulness practice and manifestation practice, the first thing that will come to your mind when you sit down is your soul and intuition answer. So you sit down and you ask yourself, where do I visualize or where do I want to see myself in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years? The first thing in a split second that will come to your mind is your true intuition and your soul's purpose and drive. Now, Regan Hillier, who is a mindset and mindfulness and meditation coach, she's absolutely amazing, will explain it this way. If somebody calls you and says, hey, Julie, do you want to come to this party at 10 o'clock on Friday? The first thing that comes to your mind is your actual gut, intuition, soul answer. Say you say, no, immediately in your mind, you're like, no, I visualized myself sitting on the couch with my dogs, watching the Real Housewives or whatever it is that you like to veg out on, or reading a book. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But then your mind gets in the way. So that's where the second thing that will happen during a visualization practice is your mind will get in the way. So in the example of Regan Hillier's example of being asked to go to a party, your first intuition, your gut reaction is, no, I have no desire to go to this party. But then the mind gets in the way. Gosh, I really should be social. Man, I'm only 35. I should really try to get out more. Or, I haven't seen XYZ friend in a really long time. I should get out and get going. And your mind starts getting in the way. And what ends up happening truly in her example, and I think a lot of us can relate, is you end up going, you have a horrible time. You're not really feeling it. You didn't want to go there. And that is what it is. Now, it could be the flip where your first reaction in that question is, yes, I want to go to the party. I really feel this. I really feel this in my gut. My soul, my intuition is telling me, yes, I need to go to this party. But then your mind says, you've had a long work week. If you have too many glasses of wine, you're going to feel like crap the next day. Or, are you really feeling like socializing? I don't know. But you didn't listen to that gut instinct, and then you don't go. And then later on, you're regretting not going. So it could be one or the other, right? But what stands true is usually if we don't listen to that gut instinct, 99% of the time, we regret it. So let's break that down a little bit in the freelance paralegal entrepreneur journey space, as of course, this is what I am here to guide you through. Typically, when I have paralegals sit down and go through that visualization, or I say to them in a one-on-one little session or in a coaching call or in some form of work with them, I will ask them, where do you see yourself in 3 years? Answer it right now. And they will take a minute and their eyes will shift and they will say, I see myself working 30 hours a week, doing the passion work that I love to do in my space. I see myself taking vacations, setting my own schedule, doing this, doing that, doing this. And then if I don't keep that momentum going and I don't keep them believing that that's possible, the mind will swoop in almost immediately. Even if they admit it to me or not, it will swoop in immediately. And here is what your mind is doing. So your mind, your subconscious mind primarily is built within you as a mechanism of protection. Now, what that means is if we don't have to think about not touching the hot stove. Our subconscious has been wired to know that that hot stove is dangerous. We don't actively think about all the things that could happen unless we have intrusive thoughts, of course, because that happens to me sometimes. But we don't actively think about what would happen if I touch this hot stove. Our subconscious has us covered, and we don't always recognize what that subconscious starts to do when we visualize and dream of starting our own businesses, becoming successful in our true version and definition of the term success, that it is there to try and protect us whether or not it's justified in protecting us. And we have fed our subconscious mind thoughts, whether we realize it or not, whether we have fed these thoughts through online consumption of opinions, seeing negative comments, seeing some paralegals saying that you can be successful and others saying you won't be successful unless you have 20 years of experience, or some paralegals saying you cannot charge over $50 an hour and good luck getting a full roster of clients, and then other paralegals saying, oh my gosh, you're only charging $70 per hour, you're not showing yourself as valuable. And there's so many things, blah, 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 that your mind starts running through. What services would I even possibly offer? How could I get clients to even take on my services? How am I going to demonstrate? I only have 300 people on my LinkedIn or 2 people on my LinkedIn. How am I going to market myself? I have no idea how to market myself. I have no idea how to properly take a client or a lead from a sales call and convert them into a client and then give them an amazing experience. What if I screw up? What if my work isn't what I said it would be? What if I miss an error and that one client drops me in a heartbeat and I have no stability? What if? Those thoughts are truly ingrained in your subconscious mind. And so as a result, the subconscious mind doesn't even have to run through those things necessarily up front. It is just telling you in the back of your mind, no, you will fail. No, remember all these things that we saw. Remember all these danger warning signs that we felt. Don't do it. You're safe here. You're comfortable here. Yeah, maybe you're struggling paying bills. Maybe you're this, maybe you're that. But at least you're not putting yourself out there to fail even worse or to completely lose your reputation or what have you. And that's your mind getting in the way. So let's simplify that. You're meditating, you're doing a visualization, journaling. In my, I'll actually show you it right here, in my Freelance Paralegal Entrepreneur, or my Paralegal Entrepreneur Yearly Planner and Guide, that's the first thing I have my paralegals that purchase this planner go through is the visualization. And you do that and you go through this visualization and your mind and your gut and your gut and your soul and your intuition and what makes you tick and makes you drive into your own greatness immediately answers yes, immediately shows you the success that you could have, and you get this visceral feeling of it's aligning. It's meant to be. My desire was put inside of me for a reason and I can do this. But then your mind gets in the way. So now that I said all of this, can you understand why I say having a freelance paralegal business become successful is going to take 80% mindset and 20% action? So let's talk about how this looks, as I just told you a minute ago that I can understand why people write off this type of practice, especially in the business space, because we've seen so many people say, just imagine it and it will come. And it's like, come on, no, it will not. I can't imagine $1 million to show up in my mailbox tomorrow and I can do absolutely nothing but binge watch a series on Netflix and it'll show up there. I wish. Don't we all wish it could be that simple? Because it's not that simple. However, let me demystify why, though. It's 80% mindset, which gets you off the hook a little bit with that 20% action. So first and foremost, when we visualize and we believe and we work to rewire our subconscious belief system in what we're able to accomplish in our life, action then becomes seamless. As you sit down and you believe, you visualize, you spend that 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes a morning, do it as much as you need. Trust me, there are some times in difficult months where I will spend almost 3 hours a day periodically recentering myself into my proper mindset so I can put the best work I have out. Imagining first what you can create and working on your belief system to rewire it into truly believing that it is possible. Then what ends up happening is the 20% of action, though absolutely required in order to make that visualization come true, becomes clearer. And I'm going to explain this with a really, really simple example. So a few years back, my husband and I were shopping for a new pickup. And we had come across this brownish, off brown colored pickup. And I remember him and I sitting down and saying, gosh, I've never seen a pickup that color. I've never seen a vehicle that color. This is such a unique color. And we really wanted that vehicle. And thereafter, I'm not kidding you, probably 3 weeks, all I was seeing on the road was that color of a vehicle. That's the only color I would ever notice on the road. What happened there is we were focusing so much on the outcome of owning that pickup. We were focusing so much on the outcome of owning that pickup, and we had never seen it before. We're like, this is a one-of-a-kind, unique pickup. But then, because we were focusing so much on it, they were always there. Those vehicles were always there, but now we could see them. When you work on your mindset, when you work on your meditation practices and visualizing truly what it is you want for your freelance paralegal career, for your paralegal career for that matter, for you in general, the more you focus on the result, the more the action steps will become visible to you. The more you will see that next course that just makes sense. The more you will see that next seminar that just makes sense. That next post, that light bulb moment. You will start seeing opportunities more clearly to make that visualization come true. So putting it in perspective in my journey, in my freelance paralegal to CEO to just being an entrepreneur within the legal space, when I first sat down to do my visualization, what I saw was much more than I could have ever imagined coming true. And I was okay with landing somewhere in between, but I was focused on that vision. And then I went even farther and focused on the vision beyond the vision. And what I ended up seeing truly was me changing the landscape of the freelance paralegal industry, making it more possible for and more common for paralegals to run, own, and operate their own businesses independently and soar their financial earnings beyond their wildest dreams. I didn't know how I would possibly ever go from a subcontractor to a freelance paralegal to a paralegal agency owner to a freelance paralegal coach to a now owning and operating a directory called Freelance Paralegals USA. I didn't know exactly how I would get there, but I visualized it and it made sense for me, therefore, to see the opportunities in front of me that would get me there, to see the opportunities that would, little actions every single day that would eventually create the reality. For instance, for 4 years, I've worked on developing a network, a database, an email list, a following of both paralegals as well as attorneys around the United States. That once I made it, once I got to a certain level, I was able to actually justify completely changing my business model from agency to platform to a software as a service, if you will. It took those little actions every day, building up my credibility, building up my reputation as somebody that's here to serve this industry. I heard crickets a lot. I still hear crickets sometimes. But knowing and continuing to work on that visualization helps you to see the next step in front of you, the next little action in front of you, that eventually your future self will thank you for doing 100 times over. And so why I believe it is so important for me to express this is that I have created a course, the Freelance Paralegal Roadmap course. It's my signature course. I've had hundreds of students take it. I've had huge percentages of those students continue on, build big businesses, do well, sustain themselves as a freelance paralegal. I've made this course. But those that are successful with the course not only take that course, but they also work on their belief system. They also know that, okay, everything I'm just saying here, I have to work on the 80%. Jaclyn's given me the 20% by building out a roadmap. Next step, next step, next step, next step. Here you go, here you go, here you go. But I have to work on that 80% or that 20%. I'm going to constantly be fighting my own self, my own doubts. I'm going to get in my own way. Also realizing that it's not enough to just have mindset. You also need to have action. But action without mindset is counterproductive. And I can promise you that. If you are interested in taking that 20% action, I have a freelance paralegal roadmap course. It's my signature course that I only open a few times a year. It is opening on Monday, April 8th. If you want to take my roadmap course, grab it. It is recorded. You can take it. It is self-paced. It'll walk you through everything you need to build up a business that you can absolutely run with and scale in the freelance paralegal space. Whichever direction you choose within that course to scale it, you will be equipped with everything you need to know to do it. Go ahead and sign up. Links are below for the notifications once that course is open. If you want something else in the meantime, I also have my free 12-step starter kit for paralegals to just look at my sort of 12-step approach to starting a business. It includes an hour-long free webinar training, a recorded webinar training that you can watch as well if you are absolutely new here and you haven't taken any of my free resources. But make sure you sign up. I would love to see you there. I would love to be the person that helps guide you through that 20% action and really make it possible. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you prefer to listen, go grab my podcast. It's available on all major platforms. Just search Paralegal Freelance Lounge. I'm over there. Everything I put on YouTube, I put on my podcast. So if, these get a little long and you'd rather just listen in the car, they are over there as well. You can also visit jaclynfoster.com for all of my resources, as well as freelanceparalegals.com to look into our USA freelance paralegal directory, where you can advertise on the platform to attorneys. There is so much happening there. It is so exciting. So make sure you jump into that as well. Get your first listing going. I'll link up a listing link below as well for your quick referral. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to put them in the comments. If you have any topics you would like me to cover in the future, don't be shy. Let me know. I will definitely cover them. Until next week, have great days ahead of you.